Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a whole stack of information articles, research, maybe even your notes, and boil it down to what really matters, giving you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. Today, we're diving into a topic that's just been buzzing everywhere, artificial intelligence. Specifically, we're looking at its path in 2025 and, well, beyond. We've got insights here from big names like Google Cloud, Harvard Business Review, the Stanford AI Index, and even some, really interesting thoughts from recent community chats. Our mission for you today: let's unpack where AI is actually headed this year, how it's changing industries and jobs, and what it means for how you work, how you live, maybe even how you think.
It really is wild, isn't it? I mean, what felt like pure science fiction just a short while ago is, well, it's rapidly becoming our day-to-day reality. We're going to explore how AI is shifting from being just, tools to more like intelligent agents, and how businesses are using its power for some pretty unprecedented growth and personalization. And crucially, how humans and AI aren't just like coexisting, but are actually starting to augment each other in meaningful ways, which of course brings up some big questions about everything from the future of work to, well, the very nature of human creativity itself.
Okay, Ray, let's unpack this. You probably remember just a couple of years back, the idea of AI making a really high-quality image or just a text prompt. That felt super futuristic. But now, January 2025, that's almost old news. We've seen these incredible leaps, like AI generating entire, pretty high-quality video clips from just a simple description, getting reflections right movement. It's honestly amazing to see how the quality has jumped year over year. And it's not just about, cool visuals. AI has sort of seeped into almost every consumer and business scenario imaginable, making things faster, better quality, or sometimes just completely changing how we even do tasks.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how quickly that gap is closing between what we can imagine doing with AI and the tools that are actually available. Think about it, we're only maybe 2 years into the sort of commercial wave of generative AI, and already these technologies are basically forming the front end and maybe even the back end of almost every new application being built. We're definitely in a period of, exponential growth. I mean, the number of AI tools out there, it's skyrocketed from around 1,300 in April 2023 to over 3,200 now, offering everything from automating your phone calls to creating TikTok videos. It's just the pace is intense.
So, okay, what does this all really mean for 2025 then? We've got some predictions here based on real-world uses about 4 key trends shaping the year. Let's start with the first one, multimodal AI becoming the new standard. What does that actually mean, multimodal?
Right. So multimodal basically means AI isn't just about text anymore. It's about integrating and understanding different kinds of data all at once natively. So images, video, code, audio. Imagine searching for information using maybe a mix of text, a picture you took, and your voice. Or talking to a chatbot that actually understands your visual cues, not just your words.
Okay, and the impact of that?
Well, the big impact is enabling much more sophisticated and, importantly, personalized customer experiences. Think about, say, an advertising company using this native multimodality. They could generate social media ad copy, including draft images and video clips, just from someone describing an idea out loud in minutes. Or in a car, right? An AI virtual assistant responding to, is there a good restaurant nearby? And then can you direct me there? Yeah. Pulling up the map visually, understanding both commands seamlessly.
Makes sense. So it's richer interaction. Now, the second trend you mentioned is agentic platforms for scale. AI agents are kind of a buzzword in 2024, but what makes them agentic and why are they so crucial now for getting real value?
Yeah, agentic is the key word there. Think of these agents not just as models that answer questions, but more like mini AI programs. They can autonomously plan tasks, execute them, and even learn from what they're doing in the environment around them. They act as the bridge, really, between the raw potential of an AI model and actually applying it effectively in a complex workflow.
Okay, so they do things, not just process information.
Exactly. What we're seeing now is organizations getting better at combining standard AI tools with their own specific knowledge, their own data. But to do that effectively, especially at scale, they need these agentic platforms. Like Google Agent Space is being used by large banks, for example. It lets employees discover AI tools, connect them safely, and automate processes securely. We even heard about one knowledge firm using an off-the-shelf agent. It found a connection between topics and a whole bunch of reports. They uploaded something their own human analysts hadn't spotted because, data silos.
Wow, okay. Finding connections humans missed. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads nicely into the third trend for 2025. Optimization of the AI stack. So 2024 was maybe about building things, getting prototypes running. Now it's about fine-tuning, making it work better.
Precisely. It's about optimization. Companies are shifting focus from just getting AI implemented to really maximizing the value and the performance they get from it. And this is important because, well, the data shows over 70% of organizations are already seeing some kind of return on investment from generative AI. They want more.
Right. They've seen it works. Now make it work smarter.
Exactly. And this optimization isn't just about faster computers or hardware. It goes up the whole tech stack. It involves choosing the right AI model for the job, balancing cost, quality, and the actual business outcome you need. For instance, there was one AI research lab. They managed to cut the inference processing time. That's how long it takes the AI to actually do its thing after training by over 50% for their multimodal model. And get this, they cut their operating costs by 72% just by smartly combining different types of processing units. It shows a real deepening of understanding. It's not just having AI, it's about mastering its efficiency.
72% cost reduction. That's huge. Okay, so that brings us to the fourth key trend for 2025, which sort of brings it back to the people in the organization. Silo busting. How is generative AI helping break down those walls between departments?
Well, fundamentally, it's democratizing access. When powerful AI tools are easier to use and embedded into things people use every day, think AI features directly in Gmail or Google Docs or Sheets. It empowers a much wider range of people, not just the data scientists, to participate in AI-driven innovation.
So it spreads the capability around.
Exactly. And by freeing up individuals' time from those routine, often tedious tasks, they can actually focus on more creative work, more strategic thinking. This naturally fosters more collaboration across teams because the tools make it easier to share insights and build on each other's work. It can lead to those unexpected breakthroughs that just wouldn't happen when everyone's stuck in their own little box.
Right, breaking down the boxes. Okay, so beyond these specific 2025 trends, there's this bigger picture of AI fundamentally changing how business operates. For decades, companies wrestled with integrating their data. It was always this massive headache. But suddenly, generative AI seems to have lit a fire under them, leading to huge investments in data quality. Why the sudden change?
It's simple, really. Great AI absolutely relies on great data. Garbage in, garbage out, right. Gen AI made the potential rewards of using data so incredibly high and the cost of bad data so apparent that companies were forced to finally clean up their digital act. It became a prerequisite for success.
Makes sense. The incentive got much bigger.
Hugely. And you see this reflected in surveys. A recent one from 2025 looking at Fortune 1000 leaders found that 96.6%, almost everyone, sees AI's impact as beneficial. And 89% expect AI to be the most transformative technology of this generation. That's a massive consensus. So nearly all these organizations are boosting their spending on AI and data. And importantly, 93.7% are already reporting measurable business value, mostly from productivity boosts and better customer service thanks to Gen AI.
That level of belief and reported value is driving this concept you mentioned earlier, the AI factory. Can you explain that a bit more? It's not just a company using AI tools, right? It's something more fundamental.
Exactly. It's a fundamentally different kind of company. It's built from the ground up on a digital core, where AI isn't just a tool they use, it's essentially the operating system.
Think less like a traditional factory that installs some robots, and more like a factory where AI is managing the entire production line, the logistics, the quality control.
Gotcha.
And you gave the Ant Financial example.
Right. Ant Financial serves, over 10 times the customers of the biggest U.S. banks, but with less than a tenth of the staff. Because AI is handling so much, approving loans instantly, providing personalized financial advice, detecting fraud.
Wow. And the AI doing this doesn't even need to be like super intelligent, strong AI.
Not at all. That's the key insight. What we often call weak AI that's really good at specific tasks normally done by humans is already proving transformative. The AI factory model has these 4 core parts. A solid data pipeline feeding it, the algorithms doing the work, a platform for rapid experimentation and learning, and the infrastructure tying it all together. What makes it powerful isn't just the AI itself, but how these components create this constant feedback loop. This allows for incredibly fast learning and adaptation, much faster than traditional companies can manage. It lets them scale quickly, connect easily with other digital businesses, and just keep getting smarter.
But it's not only for these new digital native companies, right? We're seeing established players trying to adapt too.
Absolutely. Big traditional companies like Walmart, Fidelity, Microsoft, they're actively trying to re-architect their operations around AI, but they face a huge challenge. Decades of those very silos we talked about, fragmented systems, old ways of working.
So what's the biggest hurdle for them? these legacy companies?
Silos. Silos are the absolute enemy of AI-driven growth. You just can't feed an AI effectively if your data is scattered and locked away in different departments. Making the shift requires a really holistic effort. You need a single, clear AI strategy everyone buys into. You need a unified data architecture, a single source of truth. You have to build new skills, bring in data scientists, train existing staff. Your IT teams need to think more like agile product teams, constantly iterating. And you need strong cross-functional governance to handle tricky issues like data privacy, algorithmic bias, cybersecurity. Microsoft, for instance, actually reorganized its internal IT into what they call a core engineering group, specifically to use AI proactively, like stopping cyber breaches before they happen. It's a massive internal rewiring.
A full organizational rewire. Okay, that feels like a good point to tackle the elephant in the room. AI and the future of work. There's definitely a lot of anxiety out there about job losses. Some predictions are pretty dramatic, suggesting maybe half of current work tasks could be automated by AI. But the perspective from our sources seems a bit more nuanced, focusing on this idea of human-AI symbiosis.
Yeah, I think symbiosis is the right way to think about it. The core idea, really, is that computers plus humans almost always do better than either one can alone. AI is incredibly good at analytical tasks, processing massive data sets, spotting patterns we'd miss, doing it at speeds we can't comprehend. That's where it tackles complexity really well. Think about IBM Watson helping diagnose cancer by analyzing millions of medical records and images way faster than any doctor could. Or AI assessing credit risk using tons of data points, including things like social media activity, in just milliseconds.
Okay, so AI handles the complex analysis, the pattern recognition at scale. But where do humans still have the edge?
Humans excel where there's uncertainty, ambiguity, what they call equivocality in decision-making. We bring intuition, imagination, creativity, things that AI, at least currently, doesn't really possess. You mentioned Steve Jobs earlier releasing iMacs in bright colors. That wasn't purely a data-driven decision. It was intuition, a gut feeling about the market. That's the human element.
So how do these different strengths actually complement each other in practice?
Well, human judgment and insight remain indispensable, especially when you're facing something new, a situation without much historical data for the AI to learn from. AI can give you probabilities based on past data, but it struggles with true novelty, and the evidence bears this out. Look at chess. Grandmasters paired with AI consistently outperform both AI alone and humans alone. Or in medicine, pathologists using AI tools to help detect cancer. Their error rates drop significantly compared to either the pathologist or the AI working solo. So it's really about AI augmenting our abilities, helping us make better decisions rather than just replacing us outright.
Yeah.
It creates this powerful feedback loop.
Okay, so humans are still key for abstract thinking, strategic vision, especially at senior levels. But even for roles that aren't management, like, say, product designers or HR specialists, intuition still matters there too, right?
Absolutely. Those roles rely heavily on empathy, understanding nuanced human needs, creative problem-solving things that are still very much human domains. So what this evolving partnership really means for all of us is needing to continuously improve our AI literacy. Like, how do we actually use these tools effectively? But just as importantly, we need to double down on nurturing our unique human advantages: intuition, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, creativity. GE, for example, has been training its engineers and other subject matter experts in machine learning, not to turn them into AI programmers, but to help them understand how to leverage AI's power to make their own expert work even better. So yeah, it's definitely not a race against the machines. It's much more like a race with them.
A race with them. I like that framing. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about where most people probably feel AI's impact most directly. Customer experience. Personalized experiences seem to be the new battleground for competitive advantage. And it's way beyond just sticking someone's name in an email anymore, right?
Oh, way beyond. Companies are now building what some call intelligent experience engines. These are pretty sophisticated systems that use AI, fueled by customer data, to basically assemble high-quality, end-to-end customer journeys. The aim isn't just reacting to what a customer does, but proactively guiding them towards their goal, whether that's finding a store, completing a purchase, or getting support afterwards. And they do this by blending human teams with this rapidly self-learning technology. It's about anticipating needs almost before the customer realizes them.
You mentioned Brinks Home as an example.
Yeah, Brinks Home, the smart home company. They used AI to basically A/B test thousands upon thousands of different messages and offers, something that would have taken ages manually. This allowed them to dramatically shorten testing cycles and hyper-personalize pretty much every interaction they had with customers. And the results. Within 2 years, they saw significant increases in their average package size and the revenue they got per user. It directly impacted the bottom line.
Okay, so that kind of hyper-personalization clearly works. How are companies actually achieving it? Are there common strategies?
There are. Our sources highlight 5 really pivotal practices. First, it's all about connecting the data signals and insights, building that true 360-degree view of each customer by pulling data from everywhere: online behavior, in-store purchases, app usage, customer service interactions. Lululemon is a good example. They combine purchase history with data from their fitness apps, even info from companies they acquired, to get this really holistic customer understanding.
Okay, so get the data unified. What's next?
Second, you have to reimagine the entire end-to-end experience as one seamless flow. Don't just optimize individual touch points, look at the whole journey. Qantas, the airline, does this well. They personalize booking, check-in, the actual flight experience, but they even build a loyalty ecosystem beyond just travel, launching things like health insurance, all driven by insights from their customer data.
Right, thinking bigger than just the core transaction. Third point.
Third is activating that personalized experience across all the channels where you interact with customers. Starbucks is great at this, with geo-targeted offers on their app when you're near a store. But even smaller players can excel here. Sweetgreen, the salad chain, managed to get 68% of its sales through its digital app. That's actually a higher percentage than Starbucks achieved through digital.
Wow, impressive for a smaller chain. Okay, number 4.
Fourth is fulfilling based on the customer-specific context. It's not just who they are, but what they're doing right now. Grocers like Giant Eagle use AI to do things like gamify the shopping experience in their app, or send highly targeted promotions based on what aisle a customer is in or their recent purchase history, making it super relevant in the moment.
In the 5th practice.
Finally, and this is crucial, testing relentlessly. You can't just set up personalization and forget it. Digital native companies like Stitch Fix encourage hundreds, even thousands of small experiments every month. They constantly feed the data from these tests back into their intelligent experience engine to figure out the next best action for each customer. They even directly ask customers for preference data through things like their Style Shuffle interface to keep refining the algorithms.
Right.
It's a continuous learning cycle.
It really sounds like achieving this kind of digital advantage, this personalization mastery, is no longer just a marketing or IT issue. It's got to be driven from the very top, right?
Absolutely. It's a C-suite imperative now. It affects every single part of the company. And the good news is you don't necessarily have to be a giant tech company to do it effectively. But it does require real organizational alignment, getting everyone focused on using AI, personalization, and agile methods to build that deeper, more resilient customer loyalty.
Okay, so we've covered trends, business impact, the human angle, customer experience. Let's zoom out a bit to the broader societal impact as AI becomes more deeply woven into everything. It's interesting, you see this rising optimism globally about AI's potential, especially in places like China and Indonesia. Yet there are still pretty big regional differences with maybe a bit more caution or lower optimism in, say, the US and Canada. Why do you think that is?
While those differences likely stem from a mix of things, cultural context, how quickly people are seeing direct benefits versus potential disruptions, maybe different levels of trust in the institutions developing or regulating AI. And while AI is definitely expected to shake up the job market, automating some tasks, yes, but also creating entirely new roles, it highlights this urgent need for workforce retraining and adaptation. It's a dynamic shift, not just a simple replacement of jobs. And that's why you're seeing governments worldwide really stepping up their efforts now. There's been a significant jump in AI-related regulations and public investment, trying to, get ahead of the curve and shape its development responsibly.
And we're all starting to see AI's presence grow in really tangible ways in our own lives, aren't we? Healthcare, for example. AI helping with diagnosis, finding patterns in scans humans might miss, potentially accelerating drug discovery. Education, too, the idea of personalized learning platforms adapting to each student's pace, AI helping with assessments. And even in creative fields, we're seeing AI-generated art, music, which is fascinating, but also raises tricky questions about, well, who's the author? What is originality now?
Exactly. It pushes boundaries. But alongside that potential, there are definitely significant challenges we need to grapple with. One that's getting a lot more attention lately is the environmental cost. The sheer energy consumption of training and running these massive AI models, it's substantial. And as someone in our community discussion pointed out recently, there's this ongoing critical challenge around AI's explainability and accuracy, especially when the stakes are high. If an AI makes a mistake in diagnosing a disease or approving a loan, or maybe even in a legal context, how do we figure out why it went wrong? It can be like a black box.
Right, the black box problem. And if you can't explain it, who's accountable when things go wrong?
Precisely. Who is accountable? It's not just a technical puzzle. It forces us to think about the underlying values embedded in these systems. AI learns from data, and that data reflects our world, biases, and all. So it leads to these really important conversations about needing maybe some universal collective values to guide AI development to ensure fairness and trustworthiness.
It really feels like we're in the middle of this intense global debate about what role we ultimately want AI to play. You hear some people talking about AI almost like our progeny, something to be welcomed and integrated to boost humanity. Then you hear others expressing deep concerns about privacy, about data being manipulated, about the potential for misuse, leading to calls for much stricter controls.
It's definitely a spectrum of views. And the path forward probably isn't at either extreme. The real challenge and opportunity lies in finding that balance. Developing strong ethical guidelines, clear and adaptable regulations, techniques to actively fight bias in AI systems, while simultaneously fostering that human-AI collaboration, making sure human judgment remains central where it matters most.
So navigating that complex middle ground seems key.
I think so.
Yeah.
We're undeniably in a transformative moment. The goal probably shouldn't be to create AI that perfectly mimics humans. We already have humans for that. Nor should it be just letting AI develop completely unchecked. It's really about wisely, thoughtfully integrating AI into our lives, into our societies, into our work, understanding what it's good at, where its limits are, and constantly learning and adapting as the technology itself evolves. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, our listener. Instead of primarily worrying about a future where AI might outthink us or replace us, how can we flip that? How can we consciously leverage AI to amplify our own human ingenuity, to tackle some of the really big global challenges we face, and to collectively shape a future, maybe a decade from now, that we'll genuinely look back on and be in awe of?